this, but it has limitations with locking. Okay, if you're doing a fairly simple shaped hat like this, that's fine. But because it's got the stitching in there, the stitching won't really stretch. Okay, so it's pretty limited with the locking. You can also, you can get paper hoods. So this, pass it round. This is called twisted paper, which I think is on one of your handouts. You can also, oh, actually it's here. One of my students last night was working with a little paper. So this is a non-twisted paper as well. Okay. One lovely thing about these is you can buy them in a really nice pure white, and you can dip dye them and tie dye them and things like that. You can see this one was dyed before purchasing. It's not the most evenness of dyeing, just because of the nature of the material and things, but there is a possibility of it there, okay? Because you start off with a nice white base. If you start off with a cream base or a natural base, you're obviously not going to be able to get really bright colours, you'll get more muted colours and things. So things like the paper you can get a nice white one. Something like this is all a bit jazzy and fancy. This has been crocheted. And it's just on a very, very simple kind of sinamay base. Again, quite difficult with blocking, and it's quite fragile. So if you're wanting to do something, like I've had students buy these in the past, it's quite good to do this on top of the sinamay base, okay, just to help strengthen it. But it's quite a pretty kind of lacy one. Also very good.
It's crocheted.
Well, they're made of all sorts of different things. So you get sisal, you get, say, banana fibres, you get reeds, you get straws, you get all sorts of kind of. It depends where they're made a lot, what is growing in the countries that they're made.
So is that acceptable to make my hat out of something pre-made?
Well, that's a hood.
It is a hood.
Yeah.
So
just like with the felts, these are hoods. You may find yourself a hat in the charity shop, take all the gubbins off it and re-lock it.
How are the straws not?
It depends on the quality of it. I mean, that's been squashed, so because it's been squashed, you need to check that there's no breakages and things, because straw can be quite brittle. The thing is, though, with a lot of straws like this, they are very cheap to buy. So you can get these kinds of things. Not this one, because this is a parasisal. But you can get straws like this is a twine. This is like a twisted twine, a bit like a twisted.
Who sells these?
Baxter, Hart and Abraham, Parkins, and Fred Ruger's, which is the millinery.uk.com website. And you can get them starting at a couple of quid for these straws, up to 10-15 quid for things. So yeah, and they have pictures of them as well. Now, one thing I would advise is, can you see the frayage of that? This is still a mystery to me. I started working here 2.5 years ago, and about 12 years ago now, I was running one of the workrooms at Stephen Jones, the blocked workroom. So we would send things off to the factory to get them blocked and things. I remember spending a whole weekend dyeing these colours. So how come hoods that I dyed at Stephen's one weekend are here? It's still a mystery. I need to ask somebody. Because they didn't come in this you can feel how brittle they are. Now, I wonder maybe if they were being chucked away in old, it's probably perhaps that they go to the college.
So when you dye them, you have to make them dry?
Yes. Straws, as you can see with the brown one, I mean that's quite a pale brown, the darker ones were brown. But straws, say the paper, the twisted paper, these blue ones that just went round, that's been dyed, they dyed, you know, kind of. Okay, things like this is much more uneven, so you let them just stick, basically. But these are very cheap, and you can feel the brittleness of them, and it's a lovely weave. But because it's such a big weave, as soon as you cut that, it goes, which straw can do anyway, okay? But the bigger the weave, the more open the weave, the more likely it's going to go as soon as you cut it, okay? So just keep that in mind when you're having a look. And you get your fancy weaves and...
So if you were going to cut into something like this, would you cut in a little bit tighter than you actually wanted?
You would. Can you see this brim? This brim, so the crown's been blocked and it's been stitched on the sewing machine. So you would either, if you're doing say a two-part hat with one of these hooks, capolines, if it's kind of fairly open like this, you need to stitch it on a sewing machine or do a back stitch by hand. Okay. Just so it doesn't start splaying forever. Unless you've got an uber amount of sticker on it, which is holding it fully in place.
And all of these straws, as well as the sinamay, the way you block it is the same as after you steam it and then...
These, which come like your felt shapes, so combs, capulines, it tends to be more kind of the capuline shapes, but you can still, you get your flares and your cone shapes, just like the felt, yes, and you work with them like the felt, okay. But unlike felt, these are woven, and so you will see the difference as, say with the sinamay, you start to see a difference. You start to really become aware of the tension because you can see it happening. There's lines there all of a sudden. With the